Good morning, and today I am here with Pfizer, who is the Senior Tutor Manager here at Ashton Sixth Form College. How are you doing today?
Good morning, rather afternoon, Connor. I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to our conversation. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, yeah.
Good, great to hear that.
Okay, so do you find your job a challenge, or would you say some days are more challenging than others?
I think every day is different, Connor, purely because of the nature of the role that I have. Within my role as Senior Tutor Manager, I have safeguarding responsibilities as well. So alongside managing tutorials, schemes of work and structured classes, and that doesn't change, that's sort of pretty regular on a daily and weekly basis, there can be at any time something present itself at my office and we have to sort of deal with it, and that can be challenging, purely because it can be an unknown.
So how long have you been working here at Ashton Sixth Form College?
This is my 10th year, and when you asked that question, I hadn't realised it had actually been 10 years. So 10 years.
So you thought it was a bit less than?
I did. I thought it was less. 10 years is a bit of a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a decade.
Yeah.
So it's all been good.
And have you felt that over those years you've provided a service to the people of Ashton?
I'd like to think so. I think because of where the college is situated, we have a lot of the local community, predominantly from our local schools, and being able to be in a position whereby you can help embed further learning, help students to manage their time in college, really excel at their studies, help them manage all aspects of their time, and see them either go on to university, secure employment, pursue apprenticeships. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I think also another part of my job and my role links to being able to help support students and guide students when they've come across individual challenges. Life happens, and anything that happens in our lives outside of college could have an impact on our time in college. So students may have changes in their personal circumstances, and it's helping to be able to support those individual students to be able to still carry on, pursue their subjects, and hopefully, consolidate their plans for after they've left college, really.
Yeah. So I know there's been a couple of incidents around college, for example, racism and bullying, through my time here. But what's, would you say, the most challenging situation you have faced?
Right. I think going back to 2 points you've mentioned, sort of, you recall a situation where there was some racism involved and a situation where there's been some bullying. I think as a college we deal very, very effectively with any incidents and situations like that, and thankfully they're very few and far between. I think one of the fundamental reasons for that is Ashton is a wonderful community. I think students and staff feel very safe within college. They feel very supported in college. Going back to your original question about which particular incident has happened here in college, I don't think it was an incident that happened here in college, but it did directly affect, I think, the whole of the college. It was actually quite recently, was last year, May the 22nd, when we had the arena bombing.
Yeah.
And there were some of our students who had attended the venue, had friends and family who had attended, and knew of people who sadly some of the fatalities or who had been injured, and being able to try and help support those students, for college community in general, to manage that really shocking and harrowing time. That's certainly a time that I remember being very, very challenging.
Right. And what does your job entail, being a senior tutor manager?
As my role as a senior tutor, which is part of a component of being a senior
Is
tutor
it quite
manager,
complex?
I would say it's complex is the word for it, but I think it just involves lots of different kinds of roles. And what I mean by that is, yes, you're a senior tutor, So you'll have classes and you interface with students on a daily basis doing group tutorials and one-to-ones. But we're all also involved, like I mentioned previously, safeguarding. So I'm part of a safeguarding team within college, and you may well have seen the posters which are around college. There's 5 members of a safeguarding team, 6 actually with Jane Martin, and that is our priority. Our number one priority is to ensure and continue to ensure that students, staff, any members of our college community feel safe, and students who perhaps are particularly vulnerable for a variety of different reasons, to be able to help, support, guide them, signpost them to various mechanisms and structures by which they can benefit, I think is quite instrumental. I think another part of my role is, and part of a role that I really do enjoy, and it can be challenging but do enjoy, is helping students, very much like yourself, to start considering in the first year and continue in the second year, considering what their plans are after college, because college is a platform, it's a foundation for students to essentially gain qualifications, Connor.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look at what those qualifications can act as. Those qualifications can act as a springboard, and it could either be university, it could be employment, it could be apprenticeships, and the world of apprenticeships is changing so fast that apprenticeships are not what they were 5 years ago, and so some of the higher apprenticeships and some of the opportunities, being able to ensure students are fully aware and fully informed about how they can move forward, is really enjoyable. I do enjoy that part, and of course UCAS, the whole UCAS process, it can be challenging actually. You did ask me earlier about what part of a job role can be challenging. I think sort of prior to Christmas, because of a sheer volume of students, over 628 students this year made a UCAS application, and part of my role is, and my responsibility is to ensure that process runs smoothly, that students are as well informed as possible and hopefully make the best choices for themselves.
Yeah. So when you first applied for this job, when you say 10 years ago, was there any aspects of the job description you felt you couldn't fulfill at the time?
I think when I look back, and I can't actually remember the whole job description just off the top of my head, I would have felt confident enough to have applied. Hence I did. Came, had the interview. I think the interview went really well, and it's always a two-way kind of communication portal, isn't it? You're obviously there for an interview hoping to be offered a job, but also there's an opportunity for you to find out what you think about the institution. Is this somewhere you'd want to work? And I remember thinking, this is a very nice place, there's a very positive vibe coming from it. So going back to the job description, there may well have been some elements where I thought I don't really have as much experience to some components of that job description as I do with others. But I think if you have the confidence to be able to say to yourself, look, I perhaps lack a bit of experience in that, but I'm prepared to learn, I'm prepared to be guided, I'm prepared to be able to take on new skills, and hopefully be confident that you have transferable skills which will help you in a new environment. It should all go well, and 10 years down the line it seems to be going in the right direction. Yeah.
And are you comfortable with the hours you work?
Yes, very much so. I originally did full-time, then went down to part-time kind of because of my other commitments, and I've been full-time again for quite a few years now. I think when it comes to teaching and the kind of role that we have in education, you have to bear in mind that it's not a 9-to-5 job. There will be some overspill, and that overspill is expected. So I think it comes down to being able to strike that very fine equilibrium between work-life balance and being able to anticipate and work effectively when you know there's going to be times when you're that work-life balance might have to sort of change. It's being in education, inevitably you have the benefits of having designated holidays, so that helps you plan as well. So overall, yes, very much so.
Okay. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.